you back. Do, take you back.
Session. To ask a question, please press star then 1 on your touch-tone phone. And if you wish to be removed from the queue, please press the pound sign or the hash key. Please note that this conference is being recorded. And now I'll turn the call over to Bernie Barmasol from K2 Promotions. Bernie, you may begin.
Thanks very much, Ashley. Good afternoon and good morning to the media, and thanks very much for joining us on this special Blizzard Edition Fight Week International Media Conference call from New York City, promoting the highly anticipated World Middleweight Championship between Unified Middleweight Champion Gennady Triple G Golovkin and WBA Middleweight Champion and Mandatory Challenger Daniel the Miracle Man Jacobs, set for this Saturday, March 18th, from the Mecca of Boxing, Madison Square Garden, New York City. The championship event, presented by K2 Promotions, will be produced and distributed by HBO Pay-Per-View, starting at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Tickets for the live event, which are moving fast, may be purchased online through Ticketmaster and thegarden.com. A special thanks to the local and early arriving international media for joining us yesterday with a tremendous turnout at the final press conference for Gennady and Danny. Tomorrow we will host a special HBO Pay-Per-View undercard press conference at Madison Square Garden, headlined by consensus #1 pound-for-pound fighter Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez and former WBC Super Flyweight World Champion Carlos Principe Cuadras, who are fighting in separate bouts on the undercard. Media arrivals at 12 p.m. with the press conference starting promptly at 12:30 p.m. A few programming notes. The outstanding 24/7 Golovkin Jacobs is available now on HBO on-demand service, HBO Go, HBO Now, and an HBO Boxing's YouTube channel. Additionally, HBO has produced a compelling 2 days Chocolatito Gonzalez, which can also be viewed on the same services. Kicking off this uniquely timed media conference call will be Gennady and his team, Tom Loeffler and Abel Sanchez. Later on, we will be joined by Team Jacobs. It is my honor now to ask for some opening comments from K2's Managing Director, Tom Loeffler. Go ahead, Tom.
Thanks, Bernie. Well, like you said, it's a Blizzard edition of the media conference call, but everyone seems to be surviving fine here in New York. We had to cancel the open workouts, which is always, when Gennady gets in the ring, when Danny gets in the ring, the tremendous shape that they're in, that's always a great fight week event. But like cold today, it's going to be red hot on Saturday night at the Garden. The press conference we had yesterday here at the fight week was tremendously attended by the media, and the anticipation, feel the anticipation here in New York and really internationally for this fight. Not only the two best middleweights fighting against each other at the Mecca of Boxing, but also the undercard that with Chocolatito Gonzalez, with Cuadras, with Ringvasai, with Andy Lee. It's just been a phenomenal reaction to this show, and it just seems like everything is culminating now for this fight week. So I appreciate everyone being on the call. We'll turn over to Abel and Gennady for some comments.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you very much to all the media that's online. Being confined to a hotel room and just working inside the hotel gym, I'm sure is going to make these guys antsy and make these guys look forward to the 18th, getting out and doing what they do best. Thank you for being on.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for everybody. Last week, fight week, everybody ready, I think, for a great show, and everybody excited. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Gennady. Ashley, if you'd be so kind to go ahead and give the instructions to the media for asking questions, please.
Once again, if you have a question, please press star then 1 on your touch-tone phone. To be removed from the queue, please press the pound sign or the hash key.
Thanks very much. Our first call comes from Gail Falkenthal. Go ahead, Gail.
Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Please indulge this native Southern Californian, the weather question. It really is for everyone, perhaps primarily for Tom. Are you concerned at all about this changing plans beyond just today's call? And do you have contingency plans, should the weather really act up as the week goes on?
Hi, Gail. I need to bring some of that California sunshine with you.
I don't even want to tell you what my thermometer says, but I will. It's 87 degrees.
I don't know, some of the snow.
Sorry.
I think actually Abel has been accused of bringing the snow from Victor. To get to your question, it was affected the city today, but in conjunction with Madison Square Garden, we don't anticipate any issues even starting this evening. Everything's supposed to clear up tomorrow, and then certainly by Friday the weigh-in and Saturday for the show. This was the worst part of the storm, and as I mentioned, tomorrow it's already supposed to be clearing up. So we don't expect any other deviations from the media schedule outside of the open workouts for today.
Do you think there's a plus to the fact that your main event fighters both come from cold climates where your undercard fighters, a lot of them, do not? Roman and Carlos, it's going to be a very foreign experience for them.
Well, I mean, for outside, again, he trains in the snow, he runs, Danny's used to the New York weather going up to Brooklyn, but, once everyone's in the arena that night, it's not going to matter what the outdoor conditions are. It's just going to be, the two guys in the ring, maybe fight week preparations, like Abel said, training inside the hotel room, needs to be a few adjustments that way, but once it comes to the weigh-in and fight night, everything will be 100% go.
Great. Any concerns at your end, Abel, should this continue?
No, we have nothing to do but keep the weight down and good nutrition, and we have all the facilities here in the hotel to do that. I'm sure Danny does also. Just transportation from here to the arena, even though it's in close proximity, it's still going to be difficult because of the snow. But luckily, we have everything in place, and the weigh-in will go on Friday, and the guys will be in a warm climate inside the arena, hopefully with 20-plus thousand people in there warming things up.
Well, you've got a new slogan to advertise this, Bernie, cold outside, hot inside. Thank you all very much, and we'll see you later in the week. I will try to bring the sun with me.
Thank you. Thanks very much for the support, Gail. Ashley, if you could once again give the media the instructions for asking questions.
Once again, if you have a question, please press star then 1 on your touch-tone phone.
Our next call comes from Peter from Fight News. Go ahead, Peter.
Hi, Bernie. Hi, guys. Gennady, Abel, Tom. Question for both Gennady and maybe even for Abel. Since actually when he was with the Bulls, when it was a bad weather, and I had to stay in the room, was choosing the movies, sometimes books. Are you choosing something for Gennady? What kind of books or movies? How do you relax? You want to stay focused, or you want to just forget about the fight on Saturday?
And I'll answer first. I don't think he has a problem with the fact that when I came in this room, the TV was off. He sleeps very well. He's resting, so it's not an issue of movies or books. It's a matter of just turning the lights off and closing his eyes, because he sleeps very well.
And my close friends stay with me. My friends and my brother, everybody stay with me. Bring new story, funny story. I feel very comfortable. No problem.
Sounds great. Question for Abel. Preparing for Danny Jacobs' hand speed, you always were saying that it's hard to find sparring partners for Gennady because how hard he hits. So my question is, did you decide to have a lighter sparring partner for Triple Jiu-Jitsu instead of using our cruisers? How does it worked in the training camp?
No, actually, we had primarily who did most of the bulk of the work was a young man named Benavides, who's probably faster than Danny Jacobs. Excellent fighter, excellent prospect. I think he's 17-0, but he's about 6'2", with great range and fast hands. So he gave us very, very good work. Jacobs' hand speed is of course something that to deal with, but his power was something that we also worked on. So both of those things, I think David did a lot towards helping us.
And the last one for now, at least to answer to Abel. The general consensus is that Triple G is knocking out people 23 because of his power. But when we spoke many times, you said there's a lot more behind those knockouts. Let's forget about the power. Why do you think Triple G is knocking people out in this unbelievable ratio?
Well, first of all, I think it's the Kazakh fundamentals. The Kazakh amateur program has developed a lot of great talents. They don't all become great professional fighters, but their record speaks for itself in the amateur ranks. That was a big help coming to me. And when he came to me, we worked a lot on balance, on technique, but I think Gennady's got a sense of timing because of his experience above and beyond a lot of fighters. And his sense of timing doesn't have to be fast, it just has to be right. It has to be right on point. So I think that all those things combined have made him the kind of fighter that he is. But this could be a 12-round fight. It could be a 12-round fight. We're prepared for a 12-round fight if Danny sticks around. But in the meantime, if it is a 12-round, he's going to be, if he's able to take 12 rounds, he's going to be punished for 12 rounds.
Thank you very much. I hope my today's cancellation of the fight was the last one, and see you guys tomorrow. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Peter. Our next call comes from Keith Idek from Boxing Scene. Go ahead, Keith.
Yes, my question's for Abel and for Gennady. Abel, I was just wondering, because the weigh-in is so early on Friday and the fighters have so much time to, to rehydrate and add weight between the time, it's almost 2 full days, really, before the fight will actually start. Is that an advantage for Jacobs, or because he's the bigger guy, or how do you view that whole thing?
I think it's an advantage for both guys. Both guys get to rehydrate and get filled up with fluids and good nutrition. Gennady's always been the smaller guy, so Gennady's not going to put on extra weight just because the weigh-in's early. Everybody has always weighed 5-6 pounds above what he weighs at fight night, so it's not an advantage, but the advantage is, for, like I said, for both guys, so that they're healthy and ready to do what they have to do on Saturday night.
This is by far the earliest that he'll have weighed in, right?
Yes.
Gennady, how do you feel about weighing in so early?
I think it's no problem. It's no problem. This is boxing, this is sport. First of all, this is sport. We're both athletes, Yeah, you're right. Daniel, he's bigger and a little bit heavier. Maybe a little bit more bonus for him. And I feel it's okay. I think, just 10 or 50 pounds is not a lot. More important on Friday, we'll stay both 160.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Keith, just as a reminder, just in general, the IBF has the second day weigh-in, which is maximum of 10 pounds over the 160-pound limit. So that would be both fighters would weigh in Saturday morning at 9 o'clock, have to be under 170 pounds. So it doesn't seem to really affect it that much with the earlier weigh-in on Saturday.
Correct.
Tom, was that one of the bigger considerations to doing it that early because you knew you had the next day weigh-in, so you couldn't really blow up too much in between?
No, it wasn't really an issue on our side, as Abel said, and there was a request from the commission because they do have a second show. They have the Top Rank show with Michael Conlon on Friday night, so we accommodated the commission's request, and both fight camps didn't have an issue with the early weigh-in. And, in general, I guess you could say maybe it's a slight advantage for Danny because he's physically a bigger guy, but except from both sides, it wasn't an issue to accommodate the commission's request.
Thanks again, guys.
Thanks, Keith. We also have multiple media outlets carrying the weigh-in live Amongst them, ESPN SportsCenter will carry the weigh-in live at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, 6 a.m. Pacific on Friday. Additionally, so will Univision, both nationally and internationally. Our next call comes from Lance Pugmire from Los Angeles Times. Go ahead, Lance.
Hey, guys. Gennady, me and Abel were having a conversation up at your gym last week about boxers who have the it factor, and he described the it factor as a fighter who is willing to, seek that knockout and basically destroy his opponent. I know you've had some very kind things to say about Daniel Jacobs, and I know it seems like you've come to like him in some ways. How do you set that aside and want to destroy this guy in the ring? What takes over you as you make that walk, as you take those steps inside the ring?
Hold on a second.
I understand the situation. This is my business plan and my boxing career. Just first of all, thanks my coach. He gave me a chance for this time. Yeah, of course, Daniel, he's a very good fighter. And more important, just we're regular guys. He has his style, I have my style. Whose style is more stronger, more better, show you in the fight, in the ring.
So any personal feelings really get set aside quickly as you walk into the ring and the bell rings for the first round.
No,
it's all business.
Yeah, this is sport, this is sport. Every fight is different. This is sport.
Great. Thank you, Gennady.
Of course, yeah.
I know what question I'm going to ask. So far, they're asking dumb shit.
Ashley, we could give our media instructions once again for asking questions.
If you have a question, please press star, then 1 on your touch-tone phone. And if you're using a speakerphone, you may need to pick up the handset first before pressing the numbers.
Call comes from Jeffrey from Sweet Science. Go ahead, Jeffrey.
Hi, thank you for putting me on the call. I have a question for Triple G.
I press star 1.
Mr. Golovkin, I'd like to know if you saw the David Lemieux knockout of Curtis Stevens, and what were your thoughts about that? It was a very devastating knockout.
Yes, I saw this knockout, it's a good, very good fight, very interesting fight, very dramatic fight. I think Stevens and Lemieux is both, has both style, it's very good for both, just who first has lucky punch, It's very interesting, big present for TV, for back, for comeback.
Right. Gennady, when you fought David Lemieux, you used your jab to avoid his left hook. Did you ever feel his power?
Not a lot, because we have different fight IQ, different boxing school, boxing class. Not a lot. I don't feel more. He's a very strong guy. It's not a lot.
Did he ever connect with you solidly?
I'm ready for anybody. Just is for questions, my promotions.
Okay. Thank you, Gennady. Good luck against Danny Jacobs next weekend.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Jeff. Our next call comes from Michael Woods. Go ahead, Michael.
Hey guys, how you doing? This question is for Abel. Abel, I was wondering if you considered giving Gennady a kind of a snow day off, and maybe you guys all go find a big hill and go sledding, and then maybe have some hot chocolate.
Well, you were supposed to pick us up. What happened?
Oh shoot! That was me? That was me.
Okay, I apologize. So my kids are out there right now finding a pig on the wheel, so I'm sure we can still do that. I think it's kind of an interesting thing when the snow dumps on people like this and people are cooped up. You were asked about it a little bit, but I'll delve in a little bit deeper. So what do you do today? Do you go to is there a gym in a hotel and you just set up pads, or give us a little lowdown exactly what you're going to do today because you're kind of cooped up in the hotel?
No, actually, we've done all the work that needs to be done for this fight. We sparred the rounds that we needed. We did everything in the gym that was required. The week of the fight, this is the same as any other week. The only difference is today, these days, we're not going outside. But he'll eat dinner. He ate breakfast this morning. He'll eat dinner at 5 o'clock today, and then we'll have a little run on a treadmill in the evening and go back to bed. He has his family here. He has Max here, and he has a bunch of friends that are, like he mentioned a while ago, that came in that will share some time with him before he goes to bed, before he rests, and then we'll do the same thing again tomorrow. Looking forward to the weigh-in on Friday.
All right, good stuff. Last question, I guess. What do you estimate your weight today?
What do I have? What is he going to eat today?
What do you estimate your weight? No, what do you estimate?
Oh, his weight? This morning when he woke up before breakfast was 160.
160. All right, great stuff. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks very much, Michael. Our next call comes from Robert Gardner. Go ahead, Robert.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on. I have one question for Gennady and one for Abel. Gennady, of course, everyone knows how close you and your brother were growing up in Kazakhstan. Were there any fighters that you and your brother patterned your style from growing up?
I don't know. I remember I like so many great fighters. Like Sugar Leonard, Marc, Hagler, It's a good question. Hard question. I like middleweight division because, together, like the speed, power, tactic, for me it's more interesting.
Yeah, this one's for Abel. Abel, if Gennady were to get past Daniel Jacobs this Saturday night, I know you've been around a long time, and you've seen a lot of great heavyweights from Carlos Monzon, Marvin Hagler, Sugar Robinson. Where would you rate Gennady? I know the story is still being written, but where would you rate Gennady at that point, just amongst the great middleweights of all time?
I think right now we're fortunate to get by Danny, who's a very good fighter on Saturday. I think right now I rate him in the top 5. I think he, like you said, his story is still written. I think that what he's accomplished in the middleweight division is he's going to break. Hopefully, he breaks the great Bernard Hopkins' record of 20 defenses, and if they're all by knockout, it's really the only guy or the first guy to do that with that many knockouts in the middleweight division. And to have the highest knockout ratio in the middleweight division, we need a couple more fights, I think, to put him up there and mention him in the same breath as Ray Robertson, but we're good, and it's a matter of just getting the fight, and hopefully Tom Loffer and Herman Brothers, his managers, can secure those things so that he can go down as one of the best middleweights ever.
All right, and we look forward to seeing you guys Saturday night. I appreciate you having me up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Robert. Ashley, could you give the media once again the instructions for asking questions?
If you have a question, please press star, then 1 on your touch-tone phone.
Our next question comes from Terrell Van. Go ahead, Terrell.
How you doing? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, absolutely.
How you doing? This question is for Abel. Can you talk about what you learned from the Kell Brook fight? And the second part of the question is, do you at this point in time consider Danny Jacobs the biggest fight of Golovkin's career?
For the first question, what we learned from the Kell Brook fight is that Gennady wants to put on a show. He proved it. He tried to show us that in the weight in the Monroe fight. Then the Brook fight, he kind of went a little overboard as far as I'm concerned. But that's Gennady inside the ring, and that's what he wants to do for his fans. And once he felt Kell's power, he didn't feel threatened, so
he made it into a bar fight, looking for that dramatic knockout. Kel's a tough guy. Kel's a champion in his own right and undefeated until then. So if he lasted a little longer than Gennady, I'm sure would have pulled. But as far as what was the other question?
Do you feel that Danny Jacobs is the biggest fight of Golovkin's career, and why?
I think he's the most skilled, not only physically, technically, but mentally. I think that he's the first guy really who we're going at who has got a plan. Has got a plan to do what he has to do. He's a very smart young man. He's gone through some difficult times that I think have prepared him for just about anything in life that life is going to throw at him. But yeah, I believe he's probably the most gifted of the guys we fight. He may not be the hardest puncher, but he's the most gifted.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks very much, Terrell. We're going to let Abel and Gennady go back to the training. You want to make some closing comments, please, Abel and Gennady, about how the week has gone so far and what you expect for the rest of the week?
Thank you very much. First of all, thank you for your intention, for your support. You know, I think everybody has great time in 5 weeks. It's 5 weekends Saturday night. You know, just thank you so much for everybody. Thank you very much.
Well, hopefully this great New York weather gives us a little reprieve and we can get on with our weekly chores that we have planned for this week. But we're looking forward to March 18th. Thank you for everybody that tuned in and asked the questions. We hope to put on that great show that he always does, that Gennady always does.
Thanks very much, Abel and Gennady. We really appreciate it.
Danny Jacobs is up next.
At this time, we're joined by Danny Jacob, along with Chris Algieri and Andre Rozier. Danny, you there?
Yes, sir.
How's this week treating you with the snowstorm, Danny?
Oh, it's not that bad, actually. I thought it was going to be an apocalypse the way they make it seem, but it's pretty doable.
Thank you. Is Andre there with you as well?
Yes, I'm here.
Andre, how's this change your training plans for today?
Actually, it doesn't. We're used to this. This is our type of weather. So we go according to the game plan, and the game plan is New York will throw you a twist here and a turn there, but we're ready to rock and roll, so it doesn't matter.
Thanks very much, Andre. Ashley, if you'd be so kind to give the media once again instructions for asking calls from Danny, Andre Rozier. Chris Algieri is also on the line with us.
If you have a question, please press star then 1 on your touch tone.
Our first question comes from Lance Pugmart, the LA Times. Go ahead, Lance.
Hey, Daniel, how you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
You looked great in that photo that I saw with you breaking camp. How important, I know you always want to reach peak condition, but how does reaching the condition you're in right now help you win this fight?
I mean, looks are deceiving, you know, because I've seen a lot of boxers who look great but aren't really in, you know, the best condition. It's really not about muscles. Even though I like to see my muscles, I always brag about how good I look in camp, especially with my team. We always have fun with it. But I really, due to my mentality, due to my team, the help of everybody's input, due to the snack facility and allowing us to use their gym and what they brought to the table, I really feel like I'm in the peak, tip-top condition that it'll show come, March 18th. Because dealing with a guy like Triple G with pressure, you're going to need to be in the best condition possible. So I think we've reached that, and I'm content with where I'm at.
Okay, and, I think one of the things that's happened during in the lead up to this fight, Daniel, is that your backstory of what you overcame with your cancer fight has really touched a lot of people's hearts. And I thought, maybe I'm mistaken, but I thought somewhere along the line, when you were coming out of that, you had told some people, like, I don't want to always be known as the cancer fighter. I don't want that to really define me. But when when you look around and see how many people have been touched by your story, has that changed your mentality at all, or just reshaped it just the slightest bit?
Well, absolutely not. You got to understand, there's millions and millions of people in this world that still don't know my story and that still can reach and still be inspired by my story. I never get tired of telling my story. I just understand that, some of the people who've been around and heard my story over and over again might get tired of it. So that's what that comment was made for. And actually, my life is meaningful, and I understand that. It's bigger than just me. And, I would never get tired of telling my story, but at the same time, I do also want to be known for being a talented kid. And, I think March 18th, I had that opportunity to prove that. And, along with talking about the cancer, you're also going to say, Daniel Jacobs is an exceptional fighter.
Yeah, absolutely. What's been for you, what's been the coolest thing connected to, who you are and in your role as, not necessarily a spokesman, but as someone who has been touched by cancer and can help, inspire people who are fighting through it? Is there anything inspirational that you immediately comes to mind when you think about, your post-recovery life?
I'm not really a religious guy. I'm a spiritual guy. My religion is love. And I think the most thing that I've realized is that, when people come up to me and, people tell me about my story or how much my story means to them, or just how much of an inspiration me going through and me being able to push through and with my career after post-cancer, I just really realized the love is real, and there's no greater feeling in this world than to give back and to make sure that you can touch people. So I realized that, as an adult, post-cancer, and it's the greatest feeling.
Great. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. We'll see you out there in a couple days.
Yes, sir.
Thanks very much, Lance. Our next call comes from Peter from Fight News. Go ahead, Peter. Thank you very much, Billy. Good afternoon, Billy. This is Peter, still in Chicago, but hoping to see you guys and see the fight as soon as possible, as soon as my plan is going to depart. Question for you. I want to ask two short questions, actually. I want to ask Triple G how he spends his time when there's cold outside, and he prefers friends, staying with you, and having conversation. Same for you, or you have some, motivational movie, book, or you just want to stay completely relaxed and not really think about what's going to happen on IT?
No, I think I just want to say extremely relaxed. I mean, you perform at your best when you're at peace and when you're at one with yourself and your mind and your body. The key is to be able to be the best that I can be. But if you get distracted mentally, then, 9 times out of 10, you won't be able to put things together the way you sort out. So I think the goal for me is just to make sure that I can stay focused, stay calm, even under the pressure and under all the circumstances. But it's one that I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to that pressure. I'm looking forward to those nerves, because I know that it's all going to pay off. And one day I'm going to be like, this was one of the greatest fights, and it was so much pressure, so much anxiety. But at the end of the day, we lived up to it, and we fought under it, and when our back was against the wall.
Second question, you guys started almost at the same time as a professionals, 2006 for Triple G, 2007 for you. When was the first time you've been aware about Triple G and his skills? I presume it was earlier than, the other two. If you can recall, when you first time had a conversation with your trainer or whoever about, there's this guy from Kazakhstan who is knocking people out.
Well, I think the first time I realized or noticed about Triple G was when he fought Durrell in the Olympics. And then I never heard of him after that. And then once we turned professional, I got a chance to probably hear about him once he came to the United States. I haven't really heard too much about his early career, but guy was kind of the same timing for me, although that one time in the Olympics. But like I said before, you have to respect this guy. He has 300 plus amateur fights. He's beaten a lot of different guys at amateurs. He's to be respected. But come March 18th, it's going to be a new kid in town. It's going to be a changing of the throne, and I'm fully 100% prepared for it.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time, and let the best man win. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Peter. Our next call comes from Jeffrey Freeman with Sweet Science. Go ahead, Jeffrey.
Hi again. Thanks again for putting me on the call. I have a question for Team Jacobs. Hi, Danny.
Hey, how are you?
Good, thank you. With Chris Algieri as your trainer/nutritionist, I have to ask, how much inspiration, if any, do you draw from his greatest victory, the come-from-behind blood-and-guts win over Ruslan Provodnikov? Do you two discuss that fight and what Chris endured to win it? Thank you.
That's a really good question. Actually, we talked about that fight, and I told him how much of an inspiration it was for me to be there in Brooklyn when he captured that title, and it was just like a Rocky story. It was the Rocky movie. It was the perfect story for him, and to see him come back and to see him, get off the canvas and continue to fight and have that big swollen eye and still give it his all when most guys would quit. And then at the end, we talked about that overview picture that he had with his hands up in the air. That will always be memorable, And I think for me, having a guy who, has that experience, who has captured his own championship and captured his own memories, the memories that I'm trying to create, it could only add inspiration. He's a very fun guy to be around. He's the best nutritionist that I ever had, especially in camp. And I'm just grateful for the opportunity to work with him. He's a stellar guy, and, he's 100% believing in my ability and making sure that I could be victorious Saturday night.
Thanks for that, Danny. Is Chris on the line?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I'm here.
I was just wondering, Chris, if you could comment a little bit on that, the Provodnikov fight as it relates to working with Danny.
It can be somewhat of a similar situation that, Danny's an underdog in this fight, and people may be saying what they're saying about what's going to happen Saturday night. But, during my camp leading up to the Provodnikov fight, we had no doubt about what was going to happen. The positivity of the camp, the momentum of the camp was just up. Team Algieri was super strong and ready to perform. And I'm feeling that same way now being in Team Jacobs, that the whole team is united. Everyone has one singular focus, all have the same mindset. There's no doubt in our camp. We don't have any doubt about what's going to happen. We know Danny's done the work. We know he's best prepared, and we know what he brings to the table. So, the positivity of the camp has been overwhelming.
Thank you, Chris. And one last question for Danny. Danny, I don't wish to dwell on the Lemieux Stevens knockout. I know you've commented on that. I wonder if you could talk a little bit more about that and what you saw in that fight.
This is boxing. Anything can happen. Like I said, you don't want to see people that you've known for a long time end up with results like that. But, this is a reminder of how brutal this sport can be, and it just keep you, on your toes and mentally sharp for any fight that you have in the future. This is boxing, I knew when I signed up what could happen. Like I said, when you have friends and you have family or you have peers or people that that could hurt, it's not a good feeling.
Thanks, Danny. Good luck, Miracle Man.
Thank you very much.
Jeff, thanks for joining us once again. Our next call comes from Cynthia Conte from the Fight Guys. Go ahead, Cynthia.
Hi, guys. Good morning. This question is for Danny Jacobs. You've done something a boxer has never done. You brought on your friend, fellow boxer and performance nutritionist, Chris Algieri, as we just heard from him. How has that changed your performance overall compared to all your last bouts?
The thing about Chris is that not only are the goal is to make sure that I can make weight comfortably and to have the best nutrition for, my fight night, but his motto is that we're going to be prepared and ready for each and every session inside the gym. So we're going to be nutritious. We're going to be nutritiously. Give me that word, Chris. Nutritionally sound. Thank you, Chris. So for each and every sparring session, and for each and every bout session that we have in the gym, and the sparring match that we have. So, and it's worked out. You know, I've been shocked by the amount of food that I've been able to have, and the variety of foods that we have is different. I'm also being educated, so I'm looking forward to allowing myself to have the best possible, nutrition and best possible, preparation for the fight.
With that being said, once you step off that ring March 18th, after the fight, what are you craving to eat? We have to know. You guys have been leaning out, and you've been eating based on what what Chris has been cooking you. It's all healthy, nutritious, real food. But is there something that you're definitely craving that you just want to stuff your face after?
Well, you mean after the fight or after the win?
Yes, after the fight, because you can't just start eating junk food after the win. But after the fight, that's when you can really indulge.
I think our tradition is probably going to like Shake Shack or, probably getting something dirty and nasty that we just wouldn't get the grease in our system. But, prior to the fight, after the weigh-in, prior to the fight, I think we want to get, the best possible nutrition in. Maybe some bison burgers and, maybe some protein, some chicken, some veggies, of course. And definitely some nice carbs. But, after the fight, it's going to be no holds barred.
Okay, and this question for Chris. What was Gennady Jacobs' favorite meal that he loved, that he wanted, and also what was his least favorite, and was he a picky eater?
Kind of a good question. I mean, I might have to refer to Danny on what was his actual favorite. The turkey. Okay, that's what I thought. So I have a pretty solid turkey burger recipe that he was a big fan of. And whenever
with avocados.
Very excited about it. Very, very consistent and super clean. No, he wasn't. He was actually really easy to work with. He's not picky at all. He's got a pretty good when it comes to seasoning and spices. And he knows what good food is. So it wasn't hard to get him to eat some of the dishes that, all the dishes that I was putting together. And I'd say probably his least favorite, or the one that he wanted to avoid more than anything, was when I served whitefish like cod, which initially he was like, I don't like cod. But I was like, yeah, you like it the way I cook it. So we prepared that. We did it a couple different ways. And that was the mainstay of Taco Tuesday when it was fish taco time. So I got him to like that too.
Okay, well, thank you, and good luck this Saturday.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Cynthia. We appreciate your support. Our next call comes from Robert Gardner again. Go ahead, Robert.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on. I had just one question for Daniel. I'm so impressed with how you and Triple G are received by your peers. You're so respected, mainly because you guys handle business in the ring. How does it make you feel to know that guys in your sport respect you guys a great deal?
It makes me feel good, 100%. I just feel like the, stereotype of boxers is that, we're all rude, disrespectful, don't have vocabulary, we're not respectful of each other. All we want to do is fight, right? But I wasn't taught that way. Even though this is my job, this is my profession, I always like to bring who I am to the forefront. And I think that people can respect that. It's just, real recognize real. And I think a lot of people appreciate that, and, they speak about it a lot. I'm grateful that, I have a guy in front of me that isn't a trash talker. Because, it would probably lead me to talk, have a little bit of remorse to want to say something bad. But, this is a gentleman's sport. And I'm glad that we can have people with the right conduct represented right.
Well, as I stated before, you guys are two great ambassadors to the sport. And I wish I could sneak you guys in one of my Baltimore crab cakes, but Chris will probably beat me up, so I'll just leave that alone. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Robert. Ashley, if you could go ahead and give the instructions once again to the media for asking questions.
If you have a question, please press star, then 1 on your touch.
Our next question comes from Gail Alcantara. Go ahead, Gail.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
I'm trying.
Again, another question for Chris. Chris, now that a lot of people have been watching you work with Danny, and
No disrespect, but I don't give a rat's ass about his food.
you can call from anybody else who wants to work with you as a nutritionist in the same vein as Danny. Has he been good for business?
No, nothing yet. No other fighters reached out, and I'm okay with that. This was a special case. You know, I said that if I didn't have a personal relationship with Danny prior to this whole thing, I wouldn't have done it. You know, spending 2 months with somebody that you don't know or don't particularly like.
I don't give a shit about his food.
And not worth it for me. But this like I said, this was a special case. But not saying that I wouldn't be open to it, but hasn't been anybody reaching out just yet.
So to follow that comment up, you do see this as something you'd like to do going forward as a business, but you sound fairly few to work with. Is that fair characterization?
I'm sorry, I lost you for a second. I missed that last statement. That question.
Following on the comment, you do see this as something you'd be pursuing, perhaps in the future as a business venture, but it sounds like you'd be a bit picky about who you'd work with.
Yes, for sure. I mean, you know, I went to school for this. I spent a lot of money to get a degree in what I'm practicing now, and I stay up on top of my certifications, and I'm very much in the sports nutrition world and very active. So, you know, this is definitely something I do as a business, something I will pursue as a business as well. But yes, I would definitely, especially because I'm still an active fighter, that I would be very, very particular about who I would choose to work with.
Well, for everyone else on the call, I checked out your LinkedIn page, and I refer everybody else to it. It's very impressive. And good luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Gail. Appreciate your support. Our next call comes from Mike Woods. Go ahead, Michael.
Hey, guys. I'm enjoying the heck out of this call to talk about nutrition, and Danny is so at ease, and very fun call. I do want to ask, I'm monitoring Twitter as I'm writing this up, and a fella commented on how during the Kell Brook fight he thought Golovkin looked terrible. And so I put it back to Twitter, and I said, do most people think that? And so I want to put it to Danny. Danny, what was your take on how Golovkin looked?
That was my question.
Do you think he looked diminished and maybe a little slower? He's 34, almost 35. What is your take?
I mean, one could argue that. I think that, you know, what's this guy named before Andre Ward? Who's calling him out, Triple G. That's the guy from the UK. Yeah.
Liam, was it Smith Brothers? Smith?
No, the guy from the guy from the UK. He's retired now, but he's saying he's going to come back and fight. Foch. Okay, yeah. So Foch. Foch said it best when he said Triple G's best years are behind him, and I kind of agree with that. Even though I still think he's still a dangerous fighter, and he's still a big threat. I do think that, you know, this is the perfect timing for me because, you know, it's similar to when I fought Peter Quillen. You know, Gabe Rosado, in my opinion, you know, was on the verge of, you know, beating him if he didn't get that cut on his eye. And I was just like, man, like, I hope this guy doesn't do it. You know, I want to be the guy that does it because around that time I was calling Peter Quillen out. It's a similar thing for me. Even though Kell Brook wasn't close to beating Triple G, he did expose a lot of different things as far as movement, speed, ring generalship, and he just really didn't have the sheer size to, you know, be effective. And especially once that eye got hurt, he was done for. But he did, for me, in my opinion, expose a lot of different things. I don't know if I have a similar style like Kell Brook, but I do know that I bring a lot to the table also that would be a problem to Triple G. But like I said, it's just about going in there, improving, going in there and getting the job done. I could talk about it all day, but, you know, Saturday
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Michael. Our next question comes from Matthew Quigley. Go ahead, Matthew.
Hey guys, this is for Daniel and Chris, sticking with the theme of nutrition, because what else? Considering that IBF mandated Saturday morning weigh-in and the 10-pound rehydration limit for that title, are you concerned about coming in under that?
Okay, that's a good question.
No, I'm not really worried about that. You know, I've done it before in a couple other title matches that I had. It's nothing new. I don't plan on being super heavy anyway, so it's not like it's going to affect the game plan. It's just a constructive diet like we always have. We're just going to make sure we eat properly. We're just going to make sure we make weight. And once again, this is a job that I have to get done. The hard work is already put in the gym. Just make sure the fine-tuning is done. And after the weigh-in, we'll eat right, weigh in again, and then we'll continue to stay strong nutrition-wise for the remainder of the day into the fight comes.
Okay. Daniel, I think this is your first fight at the Garden since late 2012. How does it feel to be going back to Madison Square Garden and challenging for the three titles that Golovkin has?
It feels great. I mean, you know, for me to have this matchup, you know, with a guy who people consider to be the best in the world in my division, and for the guy to have all the belts, majority of all the belts, and for me to have this opportunity to be great, you know, Madison Square Garden held a lot of different great matchups. You know, Muhammad Ali once walked those same floors and was in the same locker rooms and had the same mind frame as I do now. So I'm just reliving, you know, what my heroes once walked and once did before, and it's inspirational to me. And I'm a New Yorker too, so it means that much more to fight in front of my home crowd and then do it in a building where people consider the mecca of boxing. You know, I'm grateful for these opportunities.
All right, thank you very much, Daniel. Best of luck on Saturday. And I want to let you know I'm calling from the corner of DeKalb and Tompkins and Bed-Stuy, so not too far from your old stomping grounds.
All right, that's it. Thank you, brother.
Take care.
Matthew, thanks so very much. We'll see you Saturday night. Our next question comes from Terrell Van. Go ahead, Terrell.
How you doing, Danny? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Watching the HBO 24/7, you seem to be heavily focused on Golovkin's flaws in that Kell Brook fight. You made a statement somewhere along the lines of, if Kell Brook was able to land those shots, what about if I landed those shots? Now my question is, do you feel that Golovkin has defensive flaws, or do you feel that it's actually him really wanting to test his opponent's power?
I have no idea. You know, it is what it is. I don't know the reason behind it. I just know what I would do in certain situations. And I know I'm the biggest threat that he's faced as a professional. And I know that I bring a lot to the table. And mentioning other opponents are just really mentioning certain flaws that I see that I feel like I would be, that I can capitalize on greatly. So, you know, Saturday night will prove everything. Because like I said before, we can talk about this, we can talk about that, but it's really up to me to go out there and get the job done Saturday.
Okay, final question. Now, it's almost, well, it'll be July the 31st of this year, where 7 years ago you took the biggest loss, the only loss of your career against Dmitry Pirog. Now, what I've noticed is a lot of people are not giving you credit or a chance to beat Golovkin just off of that defeat. Now, it was a devastating defeat, but then in August of 2015, you had that flash knockdown. You was flash knocked down by Sergio Mora. What do you say to the fans, or, you know, the naysayers that are not giving you a chance off of a fight that was basically 7 years ago?
I don't say anything. I do my job. I go in the ring and I prove. Boxing is a proven sport. You have to go in there and prove it. It's easy to criticize and say that you don't have a shot because you've been down against this guy or you've taken a loss to this guy. But so many people in the history of boxing have gone down and still made it to where they can be considered pound for pound best boxer in the world. So that's really my goal. I'm staying focused. I don't listen to make sure that I'm talking inside that ring and I'm coming out victorious.
All right, thank you. Good luck on Saturday.
Terrell, thanks so very much. We're going to let Danny and Andre and Chris go back to their work today. Danny, if you have any final comments for the media leading up to the fight on Saturday night?
Oh, no, it's just, I really appreciate everybody's support. I appreciate the coverage that we're receiving. This is a big fight, and I just really look forward to everyone tuning in, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to be fighting for all the belts. Stay tuned, buy that pay-per-view, come to Madison Square Garden, or whatever you do, don't miss this fight.
Thanks so much, Danny. Andre, some closing comments, please?
March 18th is almost upon us. The work has been done. The trials and tribulations have been covered. We've had a fantastic time preparing for this event, and Danny will be performing at a stellar level on March 18th. So make sure you tune in. If you can't tune in, drop in. And if you can't drop in, put your ears up against Madison Square Garden, because you'll surely be able to hear what's going on inside.
Thanks so much, Andre. Chris, can you tell us what the team will be having for dinner this evening?
Tonight we're going to do some fish. We had steak a few nights ago, but tonight we're going to go a little lighter, get some fish in. But we got to work out later on tonight, get a little boxing workout so the champ can stay sharp.
Thanks you so very much, gentlemen. We really appreciate you taking the time. Hopefully the blizzard clears up and everybody has a great day. I know Tom Ralph from K2 Promotions is still on the line. Tom, we want to make some closing comments about how ticket sales are going and about the pay-per-view on Saturday night.
Absolutely. Actually, Bernie, just looking out the window, it looks like it stopped snowing, so everyone can make it to New York. Just have to really compliment both Danny and Gennady. Once again, just hearing him again, at the press conference yesterday and the conference call, Lance asked the question about, it sounds like Gennady likes Danny, and they just have, respect for each other. But that really comes from just respecting each other's talents in the ring and really the characters outside the ring. I think it's a mutual respect that they have, and it's clearly each fighter is going to want to win Saturday night. It'll be red hot inside that garden, like Andre Rozier said, and tickets, there are some tickets available this week. It is selling faster than the Lemieux fight, and that sold out by fight night, so we encourage everyone to buy their tickets early. And the pay-per-view starts at 9 p.m. East Coast time, 6 p.m. West Coast time. Don't forget to order the pay-per-view if you're not able to come to the Mecca of boxing. Thank you for everyone being on the call.
Thanks very much, Tom. One final note, ahead of the pay-per-view earlier that evening, there will be a free view featuring former WBO middleweight world champion Andy Lee. Thank you again for joining us in the media. Have a wonderful day.